So we're about to pick up the story. We've got a confrontation going on between Erastus, who is the manager of public markets in the town of Corinth, and a Jewish man who has been sitting and sewing and practicing his business of leatherwork on the pavement. Meanwhile, he's been dictating a letter to a scribe who is sitting down and taking his words down on a piece of papyrus. Incidentally, the letter that he's dictating, you can look it up in the Bible. It's part of Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians. And here we go with the confrontation. "Sir," said Erastus, "Apelles the shoemaker has lodged a complaint against you. I can shut you out of commerce here altogether, especially since you haven't as much as registered with my office." "Registered for what?" "For the right to do business here," said Erastus. "Well, to tell you the truth," said the skinny man, his voice growing more nasal and irritating, "I'm not doing business here." With surprising quickness, the fat Erastus reached down, snatched the leather, and tore the stitching apart. "This isn't business," he said. The little man stood up. "No, it's a gift. I'm making a tent for my friend here for his travels." Erastus turned his corpulence toward the young friend. "What's your name?" "Timothy." "Timothy the scribe," he said. "Do you write the words that this man dictates?" "Yes." "And what with your craft are you making of his words?" "A letter." "Ah. And who will carry this letter to those unto whom it is addressed?" "I will." "You will." "Yes, yes, of course, you will. You're a good and reliable laborer. Unto whom then will you go, Timothy? How many days will it take? How many nights must you sleep?" "To Thessalonica, 14 nights. 14 nights under the open stars." "No." "Under what, Timothy? Under what sort of shelter, Timothy the scribe?" "Under a tent." "Well, and who made the tent?" "He did, Paul." "And who gave you the tent, Timothy?" "Paul." "Now, listen to me." Erastus lifted his voice to the people standing nearby. "A scribe gives a leatherworker two things: a piece of writing and 4 weeks' time in order to read the letter aloud in Thessalonica. In return, a leatherworker gives the scribe a tent. What do you call that?" "An exchange," said Apelles. "And what's an exchange?" called Erastus, his face as red as a pomegranate. "Business! Business!" The weight of opinion was not with these two, this Paul and this Timothy. Erastus returned to the little man and stretched out a fat hand, palm upward. "Remit the market tax now, freely," he growled, "or my soldiers will cut it from the leather on your buttocks." Everything went still. Rain fell in runnels from the eaves of the colonnade, stitching the puddles beneath them. The man named Paul stood wordlessly, grinning, bouncing lightly on his skinny legs, his bow legs. Clearly, he wasn't about to do a thing, neither pay nor argue on his own behalf. Apelles the shoemaker hissed, "Slash him! Slash him!" The manager of markets shrugged. He withdrew his empty hand and began to raise it to signal to the soldiers behind him. But then I acted. Me, Prisca. I did something. Or else it was the Lord. I had no idea what to do. I leaped and grabbed that fat official's hand and hung on crying, "But his taxes are paid. I paid them myself." Erastus took my wrist in his thumb and forefinger and pinched hard between the bones. I had to let go. "Who are you?" he asked with high disdain. "Prisca," I said, "the wife of Aquila. We're leather workers from Rome. Surely you remember, sir?" "I remember," he said, "that you paid taxes for one concern, not two." "Yes, indeed. And this man has just come to Corinth for the very purpose of working for us. One concern, you see. Our taxes are his taxes because he is ours. Kai hutos parantote sun curio esomatha. And so we shall be always with the Lord. Therefore, comfort one another with these words." The next section is a whole long section of the book that starts out, "Here begins the story of Paul, the apostle that was." And the first speaker is going to be James. And we'll hear from him tomorrow night, or whenever you listen to it. And I'll see you then. Good night, or good day. I'll see you.